Hey, welcome back to Town Line Garage. We're back on the S10 today, this time on the passenger side, doing some more body work, replacing rocker panels and a little chunk of the floor. Hope you stick around. Alright, well, we've been kind of hooking our eyeballs onto the passenger side rocker here, getting ready to do some heavy cutting. Unfortunately, the underside of this is worse than what the driver's side was, but just way down into there. So we're gonna come back. I'm gonna try and stay out of this radius here. This is just gonna be a lot harder for me to get it to look okay. So I'm going to try and get my seam right about in here and then kind of shoot that down straight. I got my replacement panel here from LMC Truck, similar to the other side. If you watch the other video, we're going to come all the way up to the hinge, although I think my kick panel might be salvageable here, but we're going to come up as far as what we can and use as much of this new piece as possible, because the water, leaves and junk just kind of got in here and caused, did some bad stuff. Gonna also try and, since my floor is decent over here, I'm gonna try and salvage where this piece comes underneath the rocker here, because I believe that floor sits under here, and if I can use that old piece to get that interface back in and then just come up with a straight inner rocker out of just flat sheet like I did on the other side, I'd be pretty happy with that. So we got the spot weld cutter out. Kind of let her eat a little too much there. I'm trying not to do a whole shot through. I'm just trying to dig around and get the top sheet off, and then I'm going to come in and try and cut the seam sealer in here. There's quite a bit on there from the factory. And then I'll leave a little bit extra meat back here. Still got some radius wiping down. I'll probably cut right after the spot weld here, and then I'll come back in once I get this one half trimmed. So I'm gonna use my third arm here. Right, I'm gonna cut the old piece about here. When I eyeball and measure the new one, I'm gonna rough cut it in right about here, and then I'll clamp everything together and then come back and make one final cut with the death wheel. The front won't be as nice because I just can't get in there, and that one's going to be a little more hacking with the Sawzall and whatever heck blade I can get in there, because I am not taking that door off, just the way I'm doing it. Here's your spot weld cutter we're using. It does have a pilot in there. I should use a center punch with it, but I've been kind of just winging them. I don't remember if that's a Harbor Freight unit or a Jungle River website, but it's one of the cheaper ones you can find. I don't have to do a lot, right? I got about a dozen or so, maybe, and it does have a blade that'll go whoosh, whoosh, flip around. So even if I break one side of it, I might still be able to finish off on the other. Worst case Ontario, I'll get out the step bit, and I've used those for spot welds as well. Those get tired after a while, but they work in a pinch. We're going to pop these spot welds out of here. I'm going to make some lines with the old Carpenter square and the Sharpay, and then I'll see what kind of fighting that seam sealer is going to do. We'll start cutting these pieces out. Alright, well, here's where we're leaving off for the night. We got the old rocker off. She's out back that way. We got the new one kind of roughed in. We're working on some body mountage. Let's see where this one went. We got this guy. It's gonna go here-ish, somewhere in there. Got that trimmed out. Inner rockers, not horrible. We're gonna come back and snip that back at least halfway up, maybe further. here's where the spot weld cutter ended up. Got about 2 welds out of it. Ended up coming back with the unibit. So, yep. We done snapped that one off and that one. So we're gonna soak it and then come back tomorrow and MIG weld a nut on it, and then give her another shot. Hopefully we don't have to hack all the way up into the body there. For the time being, we're gonna scooch some scraps of wood for the body to sit on while we pluck away at the rocker panel. You know, we like to bounce back and forth. But on a good note, plucking the spot welds off did give me this floor to help set my geometry for the rocker panel this way. I do need to come back in here and do some more cutting. Dig through the scrap bin for a flat sheet there. Hopefully we don't have to go too far up into that wheel well with some fancy bends. We'll tickle back in there and see where we can find some okay-ish metal. I see that you know, my excessive jacking of the side is doing some stuff here, so I better set it back down, get those 2x4s underneath, and work on the rocker before I mess with those body mounts anymore. Alrighty, well, we're getting ready to weld in the outer rocker here. You can see we got things prepped up all right. We did have a little bit of more surgery we did in this area here. Just kind of pieced out what I felt comfortable with from a forming perspective. So just did a little 90-degree bend here. This one was kind of a washed out flat, so the corners were slightly folded over to match these radii in here. So that's looking pretty good. I got the floor patch up in there. I got things fairly well prepped. I did the final trim back here by clamping in an overlap condition and then slipping the cut wheel right through both, so got a good fit there. So I'm gonna use my hands to gauge where everything needs to be here, because I'm sure these two panels aren't an exact fit, old versus new. Same in the front, but we're gonna get this tacked up and do what we can with hammer and pliers and whatever else we got to get it to look right. Alright, well, we got that tacked in. You can see I had a self-tapper holding everything in the front here, keep things taut towards the truck. I got a little bit of gap here that I'm probably not going to share too much of because, you know, it's bad. So I'll do a lot of tedious tacking to get the new back into the old. We do have the hinge here, so I can, you know, bridge some material between there if I have to. Just like the other side, there's nothing that you can buy higher than this, so shy of me cutting the hinges off, refabricating this pillar, there's not a lot I can do. The other side, I did have a big patch panel on the inside. This one isn't as bad. I can do what I need to do here, and it'll be fine. It's just not going to be pretty, but no one's going to see it other than this time here. I did come down to the bottom here since I replaced the bottom of the door, and that is a little bit wavy. My high precision measurement device here, it's a little bit tighter on the ends than we are in the middle, but what I was looking for is to make sure that at least the relationship between the rocker and the door is consistent, and it seems to be that way. I've got some, you know, finesse to do on my door yet, but the rocker should be in there fairly straight. Keep in mind too, the you know, the quality of bodywork just has to be, you know, close to what you got in the 80s out of General Motors. So this will be fine. You can kind of see me going through and trying to get all these surfaces in line with each other, because as I mentioned, this and this aren't going to be the exact same profile. These are coming out of China or Taiwan or wherever they come from nowadays, unfortunately, and this came out of a completely separate die. So they're close, they're all right. It's what you get, but you know, it's not going to be an exact match. So I got the tedious task of, you know, putting a whole bunch of tack welds in there. I have to go around the back side once this is in here now, and then we'll measure out and cut a flat piece for an inner rocker that'll fit right up against the bottom of the floor. So that is the next step after getting this welded in, is the inner rocker and then the body mount. Yeah. Not that part. This body mount, similar to what we did on the other side. I've got a nut plate welded up here, so that will sit inside of here, give a little bit of play, and that goes like that up underneath. This will butt up against the inner rocker that I'm going to put in next, and then the bottom will go up against the floor, and all those holes in there are where I marked that I think I can get my torch up into from the bottom and plug weld. So inner rocker, body mount, and then getting close. Quick note, I did start from all these radii out here because this is an area that I can't tweak very easily. This is one of the stronger points of this stamping. And then at the end of the day, this trim edge and that trim edge, you can see there's already going to be an offset there just because these are aftermarket. That one you're not going to see. This one you're also not going to see because that's where the door seal goes. So you can bend this into place pretty easily as long as you're not grossly out of whack. And you know, you want to look down and make sure you're kind of straight. But my main point is, don't worry as much about this edge and that edge. Worry about where this crown's going to go, because you're not going to be able to do a lot with that. That's important. That's important. You can get these to go where you want it to go, and you can get this to go where you want it to go. Quick look at where we left off on this side here. She's just about ready for you know, 2 coats of brushed on Rust-Oleum. Got to start with the rusty metal primer, and then gloss, satin, you know, whatever's on the shelf. Yes, it will get brush painted. Here's my custom piece I had there. Rockers come out pretty good. There'll be a little bit of touch up in there and mud, but she's come together. Well, that's going to wrap it up for this time on Town Line Garage. We got plenty more work to do on this project as well as others, so hope you stick around for that. Do appreciate you watching though. Till next time, keep it between the ditches. Adios.